Good morning. I thought I'd give you an update as to what's going on in the garden. On a nice little morning, sun's just rising in the background. Not sure if you can kind of see that. It's just kind of rising over the trees, and give you a bit of an update as to what's happening with the vegetables. So, I'll take you for a little bit of a walk around. So you might remember these are my bank of these are the cherry tomatoes actually, and I don't know if you've noticed, but they've probably doubled in size since the last time I posted up a video. And I wanted to show you a few things what I do with these, and I'll just use this one as an example. So generally what I'm doing is I'm pruning the lower limbs as much as possible to encourage them to grow vertically, and part of that process is to trim out the little shoots that occur. I'm going to call them, in the armpits. So I don't know if you can see that little shoot is coming up right here. It's in the armpit of a main stem and a secondary stem, and that shoot, I'm just going to pluck it out. If you don't trim them out, adds a lot of foliage with no fruit, and so it just consumes a lot of the energy of the plant in producing nice green things but no fruit, and it just adds weight to the vegetables. The other thing you're going to realize is that I've got these on tomato cages or trellises, so I've put all the trellises up, and I need to start slowly trellising them, so that here's a great example of what I was talking about. I don't know if you can see this guy here. It's starting to shoot right in the armpit, and one of the things that I've noticed is that you need to keep on top of the trimming process very early. Here's another great example. See this one here? That grew in the armpit, and I didn't notice that one for a couple of days, and look how big it is. So just in a couple of days, if you don't keep on top of it, all of a sudden it's almost too late to trim them up. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is you'll notice that this soil is only 3/4 of the way to the pot, the top of the pot, and so that's deliberate. So what happens is, in about a week's time, what I'm going to do is add more soil. And the interesting thing about tomato and cucumber and capsicum, I think you guys call them peppers, is they're all part of the nightshade family. And what happens is, if you add soil onto the stem, you'll start forming root structures even up the stem. And so that's why a lot of people add soil, build the soil up, and it helps promote stem root growth. So that's what's going on with those guys. They've about doubled in size in the last week. Down here is a bank of romas, and so same basic idea. Every day when I'm watering it, I go through and I'm trimming out those little growths in the armpits, so they're kind of working reasonably well. I've got the netting, the bird netting up again, because the birds are just voracious. They'll get into anything. These are a fairly recently planted bank of these are romas again. So I'm basically just doing romas, cherries, cucumber and capsicum this growing season. So I'm just focusing on those varieties. So I haven't put the bird netting up on that one, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming. But down here there's another bank of these. These are cherries again. So these are starting to grow. This is a great example where, see this little stem down here, I'm just trimming that off and getting all the leaf, the foliage away from the dirt, and then just promoting it to grow upwards. That's kind of what's going on there. We've done quite a bit of harvesting of our leaf vegetable for salads. So this is rocket or arugula. I won't open up the bird netting. There's a whole bunch of coriander and spinach leaf and more coriander and dill and basil growing around here. And then over here I've got another bank of, these are romas again. The interesting thing is that this plant here, this is a replacement plant. So the one that I had there earlier, when I transplanted it, it died. It just withered on the vine and it just crumbled away like there was nothing there. So the interesting thing is that in one of these herb trays, it was just down here actually, just down there, and see, here's another one. There's a tomato plant that's just randomly growing there. I didn't plant it. This is meant to be a bed of rosemary, but the rosemary didn't come up, but the tomato plants did, go figure. So I had to rescue that guy and I had to transplant him over here. And the interesting thing is, so that's been replanted about 3 days ago. The interesting thing is when I originally replanted it, it looked like it was going to die, but then I put a lot of water on it and it perked up. So hopefully this guy will survive. And again, I'm trimming off all the lower limbs. So here's a great example. Let me show you this. So there's a little branch or limb growing there. I just plucked that off. And then I'm always checking for anything that's growing in the armpits. I just plucked one out. Here's another example. See, that's an armpit shoot. That one right there. That one right there. That's an armpit shoot. So if you don't get them early, then... And see, the thing is that nothing will grow on those armpit shoots. But can you see here is already starting to form the flower pods. So all of those will end up being tomato fruit. So they're already starting to get ready to flower. And see, here's another great example. See that whole array of flowering? So they're all going to be tomatoes. So they are starting to flower already, which is quite amazing. When I was coming over here, I noticed it here as well, that this, I can't see. Okay, so see down here, there's just some, see that little bit there? These are all the cherry tomatoes. So this whole bank of plants will be full of cherry tomatoes shortly. I thought I'd give you a bit of a wander through down this end. These are all my raised beds. These are the more permanent beds that I've put down. Just wanted to show you what's happening here. So in this array here, I've planted a whole bunch of, these are capsicums. So you can see those guys in the background. They've only been in the ground a little while. And capsicums are interesting. They take a while to take hold and they're very fickle. So I've lost, in this bank around here, I've already lost 3 capsicum plants. So I'm gonna have to replant them. And actually, now that I look at it, this guy here is starting to struggle a bit as well. So I might have to replant 4 of them. But it's just what happens, you know. Sometimes they take hold, sometimes they don't. But once they do reasonably well. But yeah, they're a little bit fickle. These guys, I always keep these guys netted up. So these are a whole array of romas. So I always keep all of these little guys netted, and they're really starting to take off. These are the rescues that I talked about the other day. They're really cute, they're really funny. They seriously wanted to be rescued. These guys are cucumbers. So you'll see they look very different. There's a whole bank of them. The other day I'd lost 3 of these cucumbers, so I had to replant them. And the replanted cucumbers are doing great at the moment. So that's just the thing, you know. There's almost a randomness. This is a whole bank of romas down here. They're doing really well. I'm happy with those. And there's a couple more rescues. That one's a rescue. That one's a rescue, and I've got their little tomato cages up, so that's what that's all doing. And I'll take you for a little walk around the other side, because one of the other things that we did the other day, me and Jen, is, actually I'll go around this way, is we put down a whole bank of additional pots because we had so many seedlings that we didn't want to throw them away. We gave a lot away. We gave about 50 or 60 seedlings away to various charities, but here's a whole bank of these are cherries, and over here I'm going to put a whole bank of capsicum or bell peppers. So these have all got their tomato cages up, their trellises up. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that little walkthrough. We're about to record a lot of Daily Rejuvenation episodes back to back, so hope you guys are getting a lot of benefit out of that as well. Just thought I'd take a little bit of time out from the recording and production schedule and show you what else is going on in our garden. Good to see you again. Look forward to catching you next time. Bye for now.